มาชิกคณะปันสังเคราะห์เชียนปรัชญาเป็นสามัคคีกลมนันเนียสังเคราะห์บอมรากาเปียกัมพูชีมาตรงรบเนียเพียมเพียสันเสรีไอ้กระเรียนโบราณเพียมอาคัมปไตยมาประสริปโดประดันไทยรักษามันอ้อยบอตึงเฉลียนเปลี่ยนหมกตรวจตราสมบัติโดนตาทนเทียนเจียนขมาย
Hello and welcome to our Khmer Youth Voices for Justice. My name is Linda Wu. This show is part of the CNRP America live show. Today is Tuesday, January 19, 2021. I am broadcasting live from Los Angeles, California. Thank you for joining us tonight. Please help to join me in support ending impunity for justice in Cambodia. Together we fight to end impunity. Together we hold Hun Sen responsible for continuing to hurt and kill Cambodians. Together we say ending impunity for justice in Cambodia. As of 30 minutes ago, I checked, we almost at 53,000 signatures. We do need your help because we need at least 500,000 signatures. So we are getting up there, but it's not enough. So please help to support our petition ending impunity for justice in Cambodia. Please watch a little bit of the video by Her Excellency Musakur explaining the process and also the reason for ending impunity for justice in Cambodia.
តើយុត្តិធម៌ឬនីតិរដ្ឋភាព
Between 1975 and 1979, the green rice fields of Cambodia became the killing fields of Cambodia. Over 2 million lives were lost, including the lives of my own parents and many of my relatives. The Khmer Rouge wanted a society that is equal according to them. We still live and we are haunted with the legacy of the Khmer Rouge, which is the culture of impunity that continues to exist in Cambodia today. It is for this reason that we have started a campaign, worldwide campaign, a campaign to end impunity in Cambodia by seeking justice for cases, for the executions, for the killings that are organized, that are backed by the state. Among those cases of state-backed killings are the killings of Chivichir, a very famous trade union leader, Bisep Pilaka, a ballet dancer, of Kemley, an independent analyst, of Chutvuti, a well-known environmentalist, of Venerable Sun Bunthurn, who was advocating for the monks to have the right to vote, including workers who demanded fair wages. The campaign will also advocate for governments that are members of the United Nations to put pressure on the government of Cambodia to conduct independent investigations by using universal tools such as the UN Protocol for Independent Investigation. The campaign will also advocate for governments that believe and want to protect universal human rights to impose sanctions on the leaders of the government of Cambodia who are implicated in these state-backed extrajudicial killings. We ask you to be with us, to support us, to be part of a campaign to end the culture of impunity in Cambodia and to find justice for those who have been waiting for justice for their loved ones killed by the state. There cannot be real peace unless there is justice. There cannot be justice unless there is independent investigation. And then take those cases to an independent justice system. Join us by signing on this petition. Thank you.
យើងរួមគ្នាបញ្ចប់នីតិរដ្ឋភាពដើម្បីយុត្តិធម៌នៅកម្ពុជា
Thank you, and please help to support our petition, ending impunity for justice for Cambodia. Please help to share and forward the petitions from change.org. Like I said, we barely have 53,000 signatures, and we need over 500, the minimum of 500 signature. Your help is very important. You do not need to be Cambodian. You can be any national or from anywhere. Just help to support our petition. Thank you. Again, welcome to Khmer Youth for Khmer Youth Voices. For this is part of the CNRP America show. Let me introduce our guest. We have like a full house today. Let me introduce my first guest. His name is Vathana. He is the Governor Council of CNRPO and Public Relations of CNRPA. Let me add him on. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. And you?
I'm good. Thank you for being here today.
My pleasure.
Would you like to tell our viewer a little bit about yourself?
Okay. First of all, please allow me to say a few words in Khmer. ខ្ញុំប្រកាសណាខ្ញុំបាទសូមក្រាបថ្វាយបង្គំដល់ព្រះសង្ឃគ្រប់ព្រះអង្គហើយទាំងក៏សូមគោរពជម្រាបសួរដល់បងប្អូនជនរួមជាតិទាំងក្នុងនិងក្រៅប្រទេសជាទីគោរពរាប់អានបាទថ្ងៃនេះជាថ្ងៃអង្គារដូច្នេះកម្មវិធី program នៅថ្ងៃនេះគឺយើងនិយាយជាភាសាអង់គ្លេសទេមូលហេតុដែលយើងនិយាយជាភាសាអង់គ្លេសនេះគឺយើងចង់ឲ្យព័ត៌មានអំពីស្ថានភាពនយោបាយនៅកម្ពុជាបានឮដល់ជនបរទេសក៏ដូចជាដល់កូនខ្មែរយើងចំនួនក្រោយដែលគាត់មិនចេះភាសាខេមរៈរបស់យើងបាទ Okay, thank you so much. I would like to introduce myself. My name is Vathana Sam. I live in Stockton, California, and I work for one of the college in my town. I joined CNRP 20 years plus. Before, have a different party, but I work so hard to have a community. And especially all my free time, I just spend to work for my party, CNRP party. Yeah.
Thank you, Lukpu. Your contribution is loud and clear.
No time for myself.
Thank you. Let me introduce our next guest. Her name is Bossiba. Thit. She is our youth for today. I mean, she is one of our youth for today. Let me add her in. Bossiba.
Thit. I'm from North Carolina. I'm 16 years old. And I'm glad that I'm here today so that I can help speak out for a bunch of Khmer people and Cambodian American people as well.
Thank you for being here today. I really appreciate that you're taking your time and join our show today.
Yes, thank you.
What do you like to do on your spare time?
I like to sing. I like to dance, do traditional Cambodian dancing for my community. I like to paint because it helps me express myself and I can help others see a different perspective too.
Great. Next time we'll do something so that way you can show us your talent. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you for being here today. Let me introduce our next guest. He's been here many times. He is the other youth for today. Sammady.
How are you today?
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay, Sammady, I know you've been here before, but introduce yourself to our viewer and also tell us something interesting about yourself.
As you know, my name is Sammady, and I'm just a college student, and I like to read in my spare time and keep up with the current event of politics in Cambodia. That's it.
Okay. Welcome, Sammady.
Welcome, Bong.
And we have our next guest today. Her name is Sita, Miss Sita. She's been here before, but welcome back, Bong Sray. And how are you?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for being here today.
No problem. I'm glad to be here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. Okay. Can you tell us something about yourself, a little bit about yourself to our viewer?
Yes, my name is Sita Arunson. I live in California, Central California. I'm a social worker, and I love to be on your guest. Not love, but you know, I like it very much, and I enjoy it when I get to be here. Talk about our country. Thank you for inviting me today.
Thank you for being here, and we do love you for being here. Okay, let me put all the guests back. Let me put you down first, and then let me talk about the topic for today. Let me see if I can put it up. Yesterday was we celebrate Martin Luther King Jr. We celebrate his birthday. He was born on January 15, 1929. Basically, our topic for today is celebrating the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. In America, we celebrate his birthday on the third Monday of the month in January. So I know that Sammady and Bossiba does not have a school yesterday. So that's the reason why we want to talk about this topic. Let me bring up all my guests back to the screen. Okay, now we all back. Did you get a day off, Mr. Sam, yesterday?
Yes, yes. It's the same thing yesterday. That's a day off for all school, especially who work for federal or state or county. We all off. And actually, yesterday I said I have off work, but I still have my own business. So 7 days a week, no time to rest. Off work. That means one job off, but the other job will continue. You know. I'm glad to off one, so I can afford to have my personal business more.
Thank you. I'm kind of hear like cracking noise. I'm not sure is it mine. Oh, let me see.
I think, Linda, I think it's yours because when you talk, the cracking come along.
Okay, let me bring. How is it now?
It's
a little bit better.
Okay. It's hard to be the host.
Yeah, it's coming back, but we can hear you.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay. Maybe I put some guests down. Maybe that helped. Let me see.
Mm-hmm.
Let me
just do one at a time.
Okay, let me do one at a time. Okay, let me introduce a little bit. Martin Luther King Jr. Day is offering Americans a chance to remember the civil rights leader for the tremendous progress he took in advance civil liberty for all Americans. From his speeches, nonviolent boycott and peaceful marches spread message of freedom and equality. He believed that all men were created equal. We should never be judged by our race or our social background. We celebrate Martin Luther King Jr. Day to remind us that we are free and we should treat each other the way we want to be treated. our responsibility as American is to continue spreading the message of freedom and equality. I'm just introducing a little bit of who he is, but I have my guest, which is going to be Sammady and Bossiba. They're gonna basically explain a little bit. Let me put them back on. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Dr. King worked to end racial segregations on public transportations, in public schools and workplace, and called for racial equality on national level. And racial segregations. What does the word "and segregation" mean, Bossiba? And you are so young. It happens in the 50 and the 60. Do you know what that means nowadays?
You can see in a lot of the pictures back then that it shows a lot of black and white people were split up. They weren't allowed to go to the same bathrooms. They weren't allowed to go to the same movie theaters. They wouldn't even be allowed to sit on the same buses. They were basically just split up, and they could not be together at all or be seen near each other. Even water fountains, they couldn't drink the same water fountain. Basically, everything was just split up.
Thank you. Somebody, would you like to add anything to that regarding segregation?
I believe the word segregations, to understand first, we have to know the meaning. So it's the separation of isolation of race, class, ethnic group by enforcing those group into a restricted area. Like Bossiba said, you cannot go to the same bathroom, the same school, and so on. There's many restrictions, and there's barrier between communication between African American and white people during those time. Even by separating educational facility, one thing that I learned in my politics class is in the summer of 1957. I know, I'm pretty sure you know this, is the Little Rock Nine. Those children were enrolled in the Little Rock Central High School, which then had all been white. Then the 3 years after that, the Supreme Court has ruled to end segregation, but those white schools won't accept it, those black students into the school. So they have to enforce the National Guard to end segregation, so those students can go to the same school as the white student. So I believe ending segregation is open a lot of door for it doesn't matter where you're from, your social background, or your ethnicity, or your race, colors. Everyone can attend the same school. It doesn't matter where they are from. So I think it opened a lot of door.
Thank you, Sammady. Let me see. He is basically he marching, and his theme is to peaceful march, peaceful protest. Let me see. Let me bring up the next set of guests, which is Mr. Sam and Miss Sita. As a Cambodian American, how do we benefit from Dr. King's legacy? Mr. Sam, would you like to go first?
Yes, that's fine. But before I start to answer that question, please allow me to say a few words. The first question that you asked Sammady and Bossiba. Yeah, when we heard the word racial, that means it deals with the discrimination. Many years ago in the United States, that people discriminate the skin color and gonna be looked down to the minority, so minority cannot have the same equal right with the white people who own who belong to this country first. And when you see the word segregation, that means you deal with classification, that they classify people in color of the skin. So some place, like somebody mentioned, some place not allow a different color to ride a bus, or attend the classroom the same with white people. But I know at that time people so frustrated. That's why Dr. King sacrificed his life, fight for freedom, fight for equal right for everyone. If you look back, if you look to the other hand, Cambodia, because I want to bring up some in Cambodia. Cambodia, people in Cambodia, they're born in that country, born and raised in the same their own country. But nowadays, this year 2000 something already, 2020, in the United States, we don't even see that happen anymore. But in Cambodia, people born the same in the same country, but they still have discriminate. They still have a segregation. So I just give you some example like a few years ago, Hun Sen regime dissolved the CNRP party and arrest our leader, lock him in the jail. And after that, our member got physical attacks or look down to different because different member, because a CNRP member have not equal right the same CPP member, because whatever CNRP member try to do something, try to express their feeling, they're gonna accuse them as a treason or arrest them, put them in jail, or try to do create something like a traffic accident to hurt them or to kill them. All of this that put pressure on our people that so frustrated, live in their own country but have no rights. They have no right, have no protection from the government. It's very different from United States. Okay, United States. In the United States, after Dr. King sacrificed his life until now, thank you so much, Dr. King, because all minority who settle their life in this country, we don't see that anymore. We don't get abused, someone abuse our own rights anymore. And we have the government take good care of us, protect us. Now we have equal right. Minority have a right to vote. Minority have voice. So our voice they can hurt right now, and our voice count, and our voice can change right now. That that's a great that we can get all that. Immigration, we talk about immigration. The people from different country can settle their life in this country the same equal. Everyone has the same right in front of the law. This country ruled by law, not ruled by power or weapon or money. It's very different from Cambodia. That it's a ruled by law, not ruled by law, ruled by the power. So Hun Sen regime used their own power to rule the people, to make people to listen to them. But Cambodia is not a communist country. Cambodia is a democracy country. The same thing like United States. Why the people live in Cambodia have different lifestyle from United States? Because of the government of the United States, they make their own mindset. They have a principle. Their principle is to run this country under democracy. Everyone has the same equal right in front of the law. And one more thing, respect human rights. It's very different from Cambodia, that the government never set their principle to run the country and carry on the democracy or practice democracy or respect human rights. It's a very, very different. So I have a lot of things to say, but I just want to leave it some for the other guests. So Sita, maybe she can bring some more. Okay, so I just give my piece about this much. Thank you so much.
Ms. Sita, can you add to Mr. Sam's speech?
Okay, yes, thank you. Mr. Sam said plenty. I'm not sure that I can add some more, but to continue from what Mr. Sam left off, I do want to thank, all Dr. Martin Luther King, what he did, and all the other leaders, what they've done, paved the way for us. Other nationality, now we live in United States with no fears of persecution, and we have freedom, just like all the other guests mentioned. So thanks to him and his leaderships and all the other leaders that paved the way for us. Now to continue also to compare that to Cambodia right now, in this country, because of the civil rights movement, the Constitution always been in place, for over 200 years regarding the three branch of the government: executive, judiciary branch, and legislative branch. So the government in this country, they respect law. They, they use the Constitution as their guidance. Versus in Cambodia, like Mr. Sam mentioned earlier, we have law, our country called democracy, but it's not true democracy, the democracy in the book, but it's in reality, they are not practicing it. Everything is under Hun Sen's thumb. It doesn't, like if you compare it over here, each of those branch that I mentioned earlier, it's being independent of the other one. They, lately you see a lot of news, but at the end, law will prevail, and nobody can get away with when they break the laws. Unlike in Cambodia, everything under control of Hun Sen's judiciary branch, the judge, the lawmaker, everybody have to listen to Hun Sen's, and so we don't have the independent government. We don't have true democracy. We don't have freedoms in Cambodia. It's a lot of work that need to be done over there, and we need the international help. We need the international intervention. So we as a Cambodian people, we can beg and to ask for freedom, but Hun Sen and his government do not listen. They don't listen. They only do things for the benefit of for themselves and for the few that in their circle. So the reason we are talking about all this today, because we are feeling the pain. We live here. We live in United States. We have these freedom experience. We have this, freedom to choose who you want to be your president, who you want to be your lawmaker. But in Cambodia, everything shut down, and the people don't have that right. And we are, as the Cambodian people here, we feel the pain, and we want that for people, our relative, our friends, our Cambodian people to have this, the same experience as we do in United States and in everywhere else in the world. So that's why I'm sure that's why everybody here today for that reason.
Can I add some more, Ms. Linda? Okay, yeah. We talk about like interracial marriage. Before, different skin cannot marry to white, have to be banned or something like that. Nowadays, I can see our new generation, minority generation, they don't look, they don't see different color, because each family that have a several life in this for 30 years, I can see each family have different, all kinds of skin together. So the young generation, they look to each other as of one nation, not different color of the skin. You know why? Why United States before have very discriminate about that. But why right now the young generation can blend to each other, live in one family, you know, because the government, that's the government. The government, they set their own mind, they set their own goal. They have a principle to make this country to be the top of the world. It's very different in Cambodia. In Cambodia, talk about the poor people and the rich people. Poor and rich people, it have a different gap between that. Poor people work so hard the whole day, earn just $2, and the rich people, they just spend for one meal $25. It's very different. So if the government lead country and allow the country have a different gap between rich and poor like this, the country not stable. Soon later, especially in the court system. The court system very corruption. The rich always win the court, and the poor always lose. So soon later gonna create a civil war between rich and poor. United States talk about the top leader of United States, because they want to bring democracy not just to United States people, they want to bring to other people, the whole world. So if each country, the government keep practice democracy, so I think the conflict between the nation, we don't have anymore. But in Cambodia, we keep repeat the same and the same in Cambodia. Nowadays, still have a problem, still have a big problem. That's why we all keep stand up and make our voice here to the world, make our voice here to United Nations to help Cambodia. Cambodia people, they want to have the same freedom like other people in the world. And so we work so hard to liberate our people from a dictatorship, because this regime lead country for almost 40 years and cannot eliminate the poverty. United Nations, they donate a lot, $1,000 million to help Cambodia people to get out from poverty. But right now, people still live under the minimum line of the poverty. So it's not right. It's not the way they lead the country. So that's why we all here, we live in here, we have a comfortable life. We want to bring this light and this dignity to our people. So I hope that we all keep continue do this the same thing. One day we will free our people, and we will bring our people have a freedom like us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Sam. Now we're gonna go and show, because in order to get changes, in order to be changed, anything change, Dr. King marches and protests. And so now it's going to lead into my topic, which is on August 28, 1963, during the March on Washington, a call for equality and freedom. So it's became one of the defining moments for the civil rights movement, and it's one of the famous speech that he gave to America, which is "I Have a Dream." Let me show you some picture, and I want to show the audience on how many people. It's like over 250,000 people show up, and this is how you change. You join together with a movement, and you change. That is over 250,000 people, and this is in 1963. His speech is "I Have a Dream." Let me see. And this is a little bit of that speech. And this is a little bit of the item I found online. Let me bring Sammady back on, and then let me bring Bossiba back on. Hello, both of you. You've been quiet. Let me see. Let me bring up a picture. I mean, we do a picture. Okay, it's gonna block Bossiba. Okay. On August 28, 1963, Dr. King gave a speech which called "I Have a Dream." His famous speech. Bossiba, what is the message behind the I Have a Dream? Can you share with us?
Well, I believe that the whole movement in general and his speech was very powerful, and it just inspires. It can inspire anybody to speak up for their own rights, to be able to express whatever that they feel. And the I Have a Dream speech, it describes where he hopes for a future America where Black and white people are able to join hands without any complications or anything like that.
Thank you. Sammady, would you like to add anything to Bossiba's speech comment?
The I Have a Dream speech is what created America, is what created American dreams. As long as you work hard for what you believe in, anything is possible. This is why American has Obama as our president. Anything is possible in America. So as long as you want to achieve that dream, anything is possible. And he created the image during that time in around 1950. There's so many hatred going on. When you look up in the dictionary, you see the word black, you see evil. They create the image of the evil of in the dictionary, and when you see the word white in the dictionary, you see pure. But after Dr. Martin Luther King, I Have a Dream speech, he's changed everything. Now he changed the image of Black people is the same thing as white people. No one is pure, no one is evil. We all the same. So that's what I believe I Have a Dream speech is all about. You muted, Bong.
Let me I think I can read a little bit. Let me see. His speech is a long speech, but this is the important part. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. It said, I say to you today, my friends, so even though we face the difficulty of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It's a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream that one day, right there in Alabama, little Black boys and Black girls will be able to join hands with little white boys and white girls as sister and brother. That his speech, that his famous speech. Let me pull some poster up. Let me see. That his famous speech. Thank you both. Let me go to the next questions, unless Mr. Sam would like to say anything or add anything to that.
I just want to add a little bit on that. He spoke, I have a dream. That's a powerful speech. His speech was delivered to all races, minority in United States right now. He called for labor rights. He called for freedom. He called for civil rights to end racism in the United States, because he sacrificed his life, his time. And I remember what he said. If you can fly, then you run. If you can run, then you walk. If you can walk, then you crawl. Do everything to keep it moving until you reach your goal. That means he just want to tell everyone, if you fight for your own freedom, don't quit, don't stop. Keep going, even though you make a long step or a short step. Keep moving. One day you will reach you go. You will get a freedom. You will get everything that you wish for. It's the same thing reminds me that I always use that for myself or to my student, that don't quit school. If you quit school, you never finish school. You keep take class. If you have no time, don't take full time, take part time. One day you will finish it. When you finish it, you earn your own degree, you will have a great job, will have a good job, you have your life gonna change. It's the same thing in Cambodia right now. We know that the people there know that the Hun Sen regime abuse the human rights. Hun Sen regime right now shut down all the freedom, especially no justice in Cambodia. So we appeal to all youth in Cambodia, especially a student, a college student. You should do a research. If you don't believe me, I don't force you to listen to me or to believe me, but I want you to do more research and you compare the outside world between the democracy country, the life in democracy country and the life under the dictatorship or the communist country, how different. So later on you can set your own mindset, which one you want to be, which one, which country that you prefer your life to live. You know, if you do like that, you will change. Later on, you can change. You can remove the dictatorship, and we all can be free from a communist leader, from injustice in the country. You know. Okay, so I just want to add a little bit like that.
Thank you, Mr. Sam, and thank you, Sammady, and thank you, Bossiba. Let me bring Bong Srai Sita back on. Hello, Bong, you've been quiet. Let me see. Okay. Okay, our next question is, Dr. King inspire nonviolent resistance. How does CNRP adopt the violent resistance model? And is it, do we adopt from Dr. King or is it adopt from somebody else? Mr. Sam, would you like to start it off regarding nonviolent resistance?
Yes, I can do it first. Yeah, Dr. King inspired us and the whole world because we learn from that. You know, he the leader of civil rights movement. So whatever that United States try to create the democracy, the United States want to prove to the other country, if you keep carry on this system, your country gonna get out the conflict, nation conflict. So that's why they bring it to Cambodia in 1991. October 23rd of Cambodia stopped civil war. Cambodia just sit down and talk to each other, agree on Paris Peace Accord, and then we can write down all the contract or the policy for our country, and we call a constitution, right? Constitution, everyone that live under the democracy country, especially in Cambodia, we have basic rights. Basic right is people have right to express their own feeling. If they want to, something wrong, they see something wrong, they just together. They have right to come together. They have right to organize party. They have right to broadcast the information to the other. These are basic rights. Nobody can take it from the Cambodian people. But nowadays, it's very different. So CNRP party, we love and carry on the democracy. We always call ourselves the democracy party. So we always practice non-violent protest, I mean peaceful demonstration. So we always do like that. But Hun Sen regime right now manipulate. They create a new law is the people stand up and talk about their own rights. They said that these people make unsafe to social security and arrest them and lock them in jail. So this is a way different that we don't want to see in Cambodia. We keep practice this non-violation protest until we get everyone free from the dictatorship. So I'm glad that we all live in this country, and we have Dr. King sacrifice his life for minority people. We carry on this system to our country, and we practice to let our new generation in Cambodia learn about democracy, because right now they confuse it. The government they limit their knowledge. They don't want them to earn more education, because you know the more education the people earn, the people will understand how different between democracy country and the communist country. Right now they keep make a young generation confused because young generation right now involved with drink alcohol, listen to music. They don't care about the country. They don't care. They don't join the politics. They don't participate in community. They live in their community. They don't participate. They don't have. So all of this is a wrong way that the democracy people do. So based on non-violation, we all happy, and we still encourage people, like all our speak, we keep encourage people, don't give up your own rights, because freedom cannot drop from the sky and give to you. You see, we can see Dr. King sacrifice his life for the freedom. So the same thing to Cambodia, that Dr. Kam Lay sacrificed his life because he want to let everyone know that freedom we have to fight for. Freedom cannot get easily. So that's thanks to Dr. Kam Lay. We have the same thing, Dr. King. So don't give up. Everyone, don't give up. If you stop, you never have it. So keep continue practice peaceful protest to demand whatever that we should have. That this is a basic right that people in Cambodia should have. So I just brief a little bit like this. Let Sita finish it.
The mic is your bong. You can continue from Mr. Sam.
Okay, since we're talking about freedom and Dr. Martin Luther King quote, so I want to give a short quote. It says, "Freedom is never voluntarily given by the oppressor. It must be demanded by the oppressed." So that means, to me, we have situation in Cambodia, the oppressor, which is the Hun Sen government. So they will never give that freedom to us, to the general people. They want to keep it to themselves, and, you know, as long as they can. So we, the people, the oppressed, must demand for it. And how do we do that? CNRPs are trying, are doing, screaming, or marching, or, you know, kicking, and you know, we doing everything that we can on the outside, but we need the people from the inside, especially the younger generation. Just like everybody mentioned, we need you to be educated yourself. The school system in Cambodia definitely don't teach you about those things. They don't teach the true history of, you know, Cambodia, how we come about to where we are today. So there's so many information online nowadays that they can educate themselves and learn, you know, learn the quality of life that the whole world is experiencing. You know, like in America, youth in America are very knowledgeable about the world about their freedom, about their right. Youth in Cambodia need to do that, need to get out from that mentality, drinking and partying, and just like Sam mentioned earlier, so they can, so you can educate yourself and have more knowledge and fight for your right, not physical fight, but mental fight, just demand for those rights that belong to the people. So that's what I'm asking for.
Thank you, Bongsita. Bossiba, would you like to read your quote next?
I actually have a lot of things to add to what.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so basically, in America, when there was a lot of segregation going on, the people were always separated. I think that can relate to what was happening in Cambodia when there was the war going on, the Vietnam War and the Khmer Rouge. So a lot of Khmer people were separated in the camps, their own families. They were separated because of the Pol Pot. And whenever the Khmer people tried to stand up for themselves, there was just a lot going on. They would be silenced for standing up for themselves, for just trying to stand up for their own basic rights. And I think that in America, Americans have their own basic rights. We have our own freedom of speech. We have our own right to vote too. But in Cambodia, you can see that the government is just corrupted. The whole system, it's always like poor versus rich too. They're always comparing themselves. And a lot of Cambodian people, such as Chia Vichia, they tried to stand up for their own selves and for us Khmer people who have always been silenced this whole time. And important people like Chia Vichia, he was executed on January 22nd, which is in a few more days, and it's actually going to be 17 years since his assassination. And I think that going back to what Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. has tried to do for everyone, what he did for us, I think that should help give us like a motivation to stand up, not just for like people like me, the youth generation in America. We shouldn't just stand up for what's happening in America, but also in places such as Cambodia, where the government is totally in control over the citizens rather than the citizens standing up for themselves. So we have to help each other out and speak up for each other no matter what's happening. We have to keep pushing. And yeah, that's all I have to say right now.
Thank you. Yes, I totally agree. One place how injustice, even though we live in America, we have to agree that it's in Cambodia there's no justice. So as a Cambodian that living in America, we see that, and it's not right. And for us to sit and be silent, that is it's not. That's not what Dr. King message is. Dr. King message is to unite people, to give everybody freedom. So let me add somebody back on. Hi, Sammady. Would you like to add anything to Bossiba message?
I think her message is well spoken. Yes, I agree that GVG, just like Dr. King, he opened up a lot of door for Cambodian workers, especially factory workers. They used to have paychecks way below minimum wage. Like during that time, it's around $80 a month. It's not even enough to provide. Him and Mr. Sammady really changed the minimum wage of Cambodian factory workers specifically for better life.
Thank you, Sammady. Bossiba, would you like to read your quote?
Okay, so
Okay.
my quote, it says, "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." And this is actually my art right here. You can't really see it, but it says it right here. The quote, oh, it's right here.
You should send it to me early. I can post it. We'll post it later.
Okay, I'll post it later, but
Yes, thank you.
basically, it goes back to what I was saying about how in America, all of us had to fight for each other. We have to stand up for each other, and we have to speak up in order to fight for our own justice. And I feel like a lot of Khmer people and Cambodian Americans, we can help share our knowledge and unite with each other. And yeah, we can fight for our own justice, just like how Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. has enabled us to do that. For Americans, yes.
Thank you. That's perfect explanations. Sammady, would you like to read your quote?
Yes, so on the topic of radical distribution, just to explain a little bit, a radical distribution is to change the nature of something. So one of the quote that Dr. King stated is, the problem of racial injustice and economic injustice cannot be solved without a racial distribution of political and economic power. That is his quote from 1953, I think, somewhere around there. So basically, in Cambodia, in order for change to happen under under Hun Sen regime, we have to change the radical distribution of the politic and economic power in Cambodia. So currently, Cambodia under Hun Sen regime, there are many social injustice and economic injustice in our country. First of all, he never allowed free and fair elections. Dissolved the one and only opposition party known as the CNRP that has almost 4 million vote of Cambodian people. Arrest peaceful protests for land grabbing regarding the border between Cambodia and Vietnam. Those are social injustice, and we have to change that. Due to Hun Sen addiction to power for almost 30 years, one thing we learn is he always say one thing and do another. Lying and hypocrisy are the most effective method of his work. The second thing is corruption is the foundation of his trust. His main friend are those who have been stealing and cheating with him for many years. In this case, we're talking about the Cambodian natural resources. And lastly, the most important thing is there's never too much money for Hun Sen. For example, he begged his own citizen for money for the vaccine, while in America, we get it for free, and it has 95% effective rate from Pfizer. In Cambodia, right now, he just begged people for vaccine and begged his own Cambodian who owe debt to the bank and can't even provide themselves during this pandemic, still offer him money during that time. So I think the corruption is really strong in Cambodia.
Thank you, Sammady. I have a questions from the guests. I would like Mr. Sam to come up and actually explain this one. I think it's pretty straightforward. So he asked, what method do we have to promote and participate effectively in democracy in Cambodia? It's one from our guest.
Okay, thank you so much. And to include the answer that I have to explain about that question, I bring Dr. King quote: "We will never stop fighting for the people to strengthen our democracy and build a brighter, more just and equal future for all." This is a good meaning. This is a good one that can teach Khmer people. If you stop fighting for your own right, you will never have it. If you stop fighting for your own freedom, you will never have it. One thing, you have to organize your own group. Don't give up, because this basic right, I keep saying basic right. That means you live in Cambodia, you deserve to have this right. So organize your own and stand up to protect your own right. Democracy will lead step by step. You have to practice it. You have to teach this government, this regime, that you lead the country in the wrong path of democracy. Democracy, the people can express their own feeling, can organize their own party, can come together, have a meeting, and can express whatever they can see it. So the last word I just want to say to say it out loud: no justice, no peace. So remember that if you live in the country that have no justice, no peace. Right now, Hun Sen keep said thank you to the peace, from that he create for the people, but it's wrong. It's not peace in Cambodia right now. Cambodia right now, it conflict of the nation divide right now. One support communist dictatorship, one support democracy. So the people who support democracy don't stop your practice democracy. You have to keep do it every day, keep do it all the time to teach this leadership regime, Mr. Hun Sen, to understand how to lead the country to carry on democracy, what it is. So no peace, no justice, no peace. Thank you.
Thank you. Look, Mr. Sam, I was gonna have us all on the screen and recite our quote back, but I don't think it's gonna be possible. Let me see if I can add that back up. Okay, before we end today, I love all your quotes. Can we just reread our quote without explanation? Let me start with Sammady, and then Mr. Sam, and then Bong, Sita, and then we will end with Bossiba.
Okay.
Go ahead, Sammady.
So my quote is, the problem of racial injustice and economic injustice cannot be solved without a radical redistribution of politic and economic power.
Thank you, Sammady. Mr. Sam?
We will never stop fighting for the people to strengthen our democracy and build a brighter, more just and equal future for all.
Miss Sita?
Freedom is never voluntarily given by the oppressor. It must be demanded by the oppressed.
Bossiba?
Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere.
Thank you all, guys. I want to read a little bit from what I learned. The reason for Dr. King, there's a statement that said they were not interested in integrations or the desire to mingle socially or otherwise with white, but to break and reconstruct institutions that force people of color into the position of poverty, illiteracy, and political powerlessness. So basically, in order to break all that cycle, we have to be, Dr. King had to protest and had to have us, I have a dream, but all of that, Dr. King cannot do it by himself. People come together and join hands. And that is my message every single week. One person cannot do it all. And if you sit there on the sideline and see injustice, please join and protest and said, that is not right. That is just not right. And the reason also we have this show, we want the youth in America, the youth overseas to understand that even though we live comfortable in America, in France, in any country, in European country, please care and concern about what happened in other country. if Cambodia is your homeland or the land of your parent, understand that other people doesn't have that freedom, and we have that freedom. We need to support and we need to speak out. Does my guest have any last word or anything they would like to add to the show?
Can I add something real quick? Just want to say that, respond a little bit to the question that you posed earlier. It's start with the individual. It doesn't have, you know, a lot of people want to wait for the leader to lead, but democracy starts with an individual. If we ourselves individually want to get involved, and then other people have the same mindset, have the same goal, and come join together, that's when you can build democracy as a whole. So don't just wait for the leader to move. You can move alongside, you know, to get those freedom, to get those democracy. The same thing as for the movement for Cambodia. It's the same ideology. So start moving within yourself. That's my last message that I want to say.
Thank you, Bong. Mr. Sam, would you like to add anything?
Yes, I have a few words. Just want to appeal to youth in Cambodia. So please don't stop fighting for your own right, for your own freedom, and keep educate yourself more and more, and do more research. Help each other. If you know something that's is a better better system, you let the other know, and then come together and stand up together, fight for your own freedom. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sam. Sammady and Bossiba, would you like to say anything last word?
Somebody, oh, okay.
Okay, so I just hope that one day Cambodian people will have true peace and a genuine democracy, and like Dr. King speech. That's all.
Thank you, Sammady. Bossiba, would you like to end the show and add something to the show, to the ending?
I hope that I was able to be able to help everyone kind of understand what we're all talking about here. And I hope that every day I can also help spread awareness and share my knowledge about not just what's happening in America, but also in Cambodia and other places that are dealing with like a corrupted system.
Thank you, and thank you all, guys.
Yeah.
Our show is basically done for today, and I would like to thank you all my guests, to Mr. Sam, to Bossiba, to Sammady, and to Sita. I hope you find our shows very interesting. Our message is always the same thing: injustice anywhere is injustice. Also, if you see injustice, please speak up, please motivate other people, so that way they will also can see it as well. So until next Tuesday, take care and be safe.